first and foremost, I would like to say, welcome to the State of Small Business Address. I'm the founder and CEO of the Private Small Business Society, a BizCo Capital organization. And right now, we are connected by the thread of our family's future, our kids' financial independence, and jobs and opportunities that can be provided in the communities that we're currently in. From 2019 till now, we've been bombarded with courses and conferences and masterminds from gurus and people that's been brought up overnight that has led us in a bunch of different ways. Increased understanding and notoriety, the information into getting people to start businesses and leave their corporate jobs, but it also brought a bunch of challenges that a lot of people are facing today, and we don't really know how to adapt because we're ill-equipped. The first thing that I want you to understand is this. The purpose of this address is not just to talk about the challenges and the difficulties that are in the market. It's also to talk about the potential opportunities that we have, that if we band together and we do this thing the right way, small business in America can be ever so great for the futures moving forward. But right now, we're dictating how our future is going to move. With the emergence of technology and social media and everyone coming online and it looking like it's easy to do this thing, and the responsibility that people had and the state of notoriety that you had by providing jobs and opportunities are dwindling, because there's a lot of people in entrepreneurship today that are self-centered, that care nothing about the community. But one of the things I want to remind you is that when you think about small business, don't forget who pays for the community taxes, who you go to when you want a grant or a scholarship, who helps with the community colleges, who stands on board and gives appreciation as far as giving back to our communities. What I want you to understand is that without Small Business America, there is no backbone. And without no backbone, we have nothing to stand on. I hope that this information that you received today not only blesses your heart, it helps your business, but it gets you to understand why we in Small Business America, we got to become more professionals than we've been, because our history and our future depends on it. Listen, if we don't change now, the state of small business is going to be ruined forever. The pandemic has really shown us who really knew how to run a business, who just open for shop. The lack of ability to pivot, the lack of ability to adapt into new technologies and to be able to move into a new world without trying to hang on to the other. I mean, evictions at an all-time high, repossessions are at an all-time high. There's so many people that are so fearful about the future. And can I tell you something? If we don't start changing things immediately, the state of small business as we know it may not even be here in the future.
Since you know it all and you Mr. Big Businessman and Mr. Big Shot Doctor, tell me, what was your experience?
My experience when I first got started off in business was extremely hard. I had to learn how to talk to people. I had to learn how to sell a product. I had to learn how to recruit somebody to work for me for free until I could pay them. I had to learn how to then move my product. I had to learn how to market. There's a lot of things I had to learn, and I had to learn it the hard way. And I didn't have the internet to prospect and the internet to sell stuff on. I had to go door to door, toe to toe, paving, knocking on windows, whatever I could to get appointments for our business. So it was hard in the beginning, but we developed the skill sets, and then it became easy after the skill sets were developed. I achieved success without the internet. Getting on the internet was just a magnifier of what we were already doing off the internet. Because, back in those days, if you make seven figures or revenue even seven figures offline, now that's a big deal. Now today it's not that big of a deal because the internet and everybody's capping it or acting like they actually, are doing that. But we made seven figures offline, knocking on doors. I'm talking about walking up to somebody in the coffee shop and be like, hey, my name is such and such and such and such. I just moved into my office right around the corner. I'm so thankful that they never asked me where your office was, because I was doing this at every coffee shop that I could.
Just talk about your experience with the training and the curriculum of ABS.
Okay, so ABS school, I was not sure what to expect with it, first of all. And I was just blown away by it. About the value that it offers. And this guy here, oh my God, he's a godsend.
I'm talking about paving, knocking on doors with suits, where the bottom of your dress shoes, you starting to feel the heat from the pavement. Right now, I can turn on a live and 30, 40 people show up any day. Back then, I had to get 30, 40 people in a seat at night when they got off work.
All that's nice, but you were doing so well offline. Why did you have to get, or why did you choose to get, what was the need to get on the internet?
Because it was getting harder and harder to produce offline. It got hard, man. And then those numbers start getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And the price to acquire the client was more and more and less people. So something had to shake. So we had to figure out and had to adapt, especially when you have more and more people entering into the market doing the same thing. So at that time, there were so many of these big, large insurance MLM companies that were buying leads like in bulks and recycling them in bulks. I said, oh no, listen, this is not gonna work for me. I gotta figure something out. There's some people who look like they on the internet doing some stuff. I need to figure out how to get my behind on that internet so that I can lower my cost to acquire customers. I see it dying down. I'm not going to stay on a sinking ship. And that's why it's important for us to stay up to date on the technology and the economic changes, because it's those things that affect the small business. But most of us only think about the money we make today, and we never put our eyes on what's going to affect our money tomorrow. And I got a company and I got a team I got to take care of. We have to figure out how to make the internet work. And when we did, oh boy.
Yeah, things were great on the internet. Then what happened?
It was from oh boy to oh Lord. Because the internet brings super duper light. It's a magnifier. So you can blow up overnight in your business if the structure is not correct and everyone isn't trained and have their credentials to be able to handle a scale at that capacity. It's going to falter. No matter how much money, it's going to falter because people are not going to be equipped. And when we blew up, I was not equipped for that blow up. Because I was good at, running an insurance agency. We got 22 agents, 222 agents in 22 states. It's funny. This is what the number was. And you don't really blow up that fast. You pretty much can control that, but they all are making money and we're just paying commission. To now online, there's only one main sales house, which is the profile, and then the team becomes support. So we went from 200 independent sales agents that all I had to do was pay them commission to 52 full-time employees that I had to think about, whatever decision we make or not, it affects everyone. Our payroll was too high. We was hiring people that was not equipped. We were just, it was so much that I was trying to learn on the fly that I realized, oh my gosh, my capacity was here and I wasn't prepared to build what my capacity could be in the future. And a lot of small business professionals are in that position. They're not thinking about the capacity they'll need if they blow up or if the market changes. And I want to really focus on helping people with that transition and always being on the up and up with that, because it almost destroyed us. We went from our capability was running a $5 million a year company. But when you go from 5 million to tiptoeing 18 million in a year and a half span, that is too much of a jump in a gap for anybody to be able to even maneuver without even knowing where your mentors start telling you, you mentoring me. So who do you go to? Yuri Triman at UC Berkeley did a study. The minority students, the brown, the Latino, the black, the whites, and the Asians were thriving at UC Berkeley. And then the minority students, the brown students, were failing. So Yuri went to administration and said, what's the problem? Is it a mental issue? Like, why are the brown students struggling so bad and the white and the Asian are excelling? And then the administration told Yuri, maybe it's just capacity. Maybe they've reached their capacity, like they don't have any more. And then Yuri was like, there's something different, because you can't get into UC Berkeley and not be like really good. So he asked the minority students, could he follow them to see their study habits? And then he followed the white and the Asian. And what he saw was a difference. The minority students actually, on average, studied 2 times longer than the white and Asian community. But the white and Asian community, what got them was that they studied together. The minority students studied by themselves, alone, no one to throw ideas off of. And so what Yuri put into his hypothesis is that if the minority student starts group studying and doing cohorts together, just like those students, that they will be able to keep up and actually surpass them because they already studied twice as long. And Yuri was correct. More than 86% of the minority students that were in that group start outperforming white and Asian communities because they already studied longer and more intentionally, but now they study together. And all I'm saying is that we built this community not just because of color, but we built this community so that people can understand that you have to study together if we want to keep small business America moving forward. Because if we do not work together, we don't study together, we don't build together, we won't have nothing to build later. And I want to be clear, there is no America without small business America. Listen, you've seen it, a little bit of the highlight. We showed you a little bit of ups. We talked a little bit about the downs. And if anyone knows about the struggle of transitioning from offline to being online, it's me. My naivety, my information that I did not have made me to believe that what I built for my insurance agency was going to be an easy transition to this new world of business. And it wasn't as easy as I thought. See, getting ACH internet, ACH commission was different than getting paid through a merchant account. Who would have known that your merchant account is a big deal in business, especially coming from someone that didn't need a merchant account to run his business? And so even these pieces of entrepreneurship that I did not know, it cost us a lot. And the issue is we grew too fast. We were underdeveloped as a leadership team. I was underdeveloped as a CEO. There was a lot of information about growth, especially with the transition from being offline, you had to go meet people, to being online where you needed a merchant account. And you have all these online people that have never physically met you, but now they're purchasing your products and services. It was new for me. Seeing exponential growth on social media pages, seeing the virality of the offer that we had to bring. It brought amazing days, but also months and years of headache. And the reason why we even created the Private Small Business Society was to be that bridge and that gap, so that you never had to go through the same things that we went through. And can I tell you the truth? The truth is this. It wasn't until we took a tremendous loss. We grew too fast, had strategic partnerships that I should have never had. I made mistakes as a CEO. I should have never had my name on certain things. I should have protected the company a lot more. I overexpended on expenses in some areas because I just thought that the well wouldn't run dry. But these are all mistakes that anyone could make without the proper training. And the reason why we created the Private Small Business Society is because we wanted to make sure that there was an impact that we brought that was more impactful than just the how-tos of business. And we'll talk about a lot of that stuff. But right here, I have a report. This right here is 22 pages that I'll be reading from. 22. I'll be spot reading some, and some I will actually be reading word for word. But this same report, if you stay to the end, will give you access to this same report, as well as our, I think, 60 or 70 page survey that we did, so that you can see the 60 executive leaders that we surveyed to see where they thought their business was. And if I were to be honest with you, it's quite alarming where these businesses are today. And so stick with me. This is not the report that's for the people that want quick money and want to see like what's the next trend. This report are for those that actually truly care about legacy. You care about the business that you're building being here. You care about the business that you're working for being here. You care about the jobs and opportunities that small businesses provide. This report that I'm presenting is no fluff. There's no like secret cameras and some fancy stuff that's going to pop up out the wall. This report is going to bring you professionalism that's needed. And when we create the Private Small Business Society, what we saw based on our inequities, based on our holes that we had, there was no reason why we even should have been allowed to offer certain services or grow at a certain pace without hitting certain parameters that allow for us to make sure that people will be taken care of. There's a bunch of novice young folk that were growing too fast that thought we knew the world. And the truth is, it was from our broken place and our pain that the Private Small Business Society and the State of Small Business address came about. I want to talk about where we currently are in the market. I want to talk about what the possible potentials are if we get it together. And I also want to talk about what happens if we don't move and what happens if we do move. So I want you to stick with me. This is going to be something that you should have on repeat. You should fall asleep to, because the information I'm going to share with you is all going to be documented, stuff that you can see for yourself. But most importantly, you're going to get some type of social media post that has all of the information that you need and not just pieces of it that will just allow for you to buy some program or buy another course. This is going to be something that you can hang your hat on, and you can actually go look at the same sources that I saw. We're going to talk about all these things as we dive into the Small Business Report. So listen, if you guys have not seen, it looks like business is booming, doesn't it? So many people talking about that they bosses, entrepreneurs, got their LLC. Some have even bought trust. But the most important thing to understand is, even with all of those dynamics, if you don't understand what you need to understand, your intentions of building a business could be right. But what it does to the economy and to your community could be catastrophic. And I think that's where a lot of us fall short. Our intentions to do right by the people are right, but the way that we execute it, it's not necessarily in the right manner it should be to be able to protect us in the way that it should. So I'm going to share with you a couple of numbers, some statistics. I'm going to look down here at the report, the same report you're going to get access to, so that we can talk about some things that's important. I think it's hard to talk about business post the pandemic, because the pandemic forced us to have to think about what life would look like post-pandemic. I'm going to talk about the failures or the shortcomings that small business has led for us to be in prior to the pandemic and the effects of something like the pandemic affecting that. But I'm also going to talk about the now possibilities that we now have because of the pandemic that will allow for us to stabilize ourselves in a way that we've never had before. In 2019, we saw a surge of 24.7% of businesses during this period. I'm talking about it was a business boom. People were online. People were starting businesses, partly because jobs were laying off. The other part is because now you saw a time or a chance for yourself to take your future by the horns. I'm going to talk to you all about the effects of that in a second. But let me talk to you about how important this moment was. In 2019, over 24.7% of new businesses were created during this period. Now watch this. There was no higher increase between 2015 to 2019 than the 2019 emergence of small businesses. Because from 2018 to 2019, there were only 0.4% of new businesses in the marketplace. But in 2019 itself, 24.7%. In 2020, the year marked a record-breaking milestone. More than 4.4 million new businesses were created. And I know y'all have heard this before from your online gurus. That, oh, you got businesses getting started. The economy is changing. We're taking information that the wealthy have always had, and bringing it to us. Well, if I were to be honest with you, it wasn't as pleasant of a surprise or pleasant of an exchange of resources as we thought. You'll find out more about that as we talk about this report. Again, another 24.3% increase from 2019 to 2020. 2021, we had another all-time high. Another million on top of the 4.4. So we had 5.4 million new filings of new businesses created. This was an astounding increase of 53% compared to the 2019 and a solid rise of 22.7% according to the numbers of 2020. The number of businesses recorded an all-time high since 2005, excuse me. This significant rise, although it sounds good in theory, let me tell you about the potential challenges that it has caused and the challenges that it will cause. Number one, market saturation. The influx of businesses that entered the market completely disseminated natural growth laws. Everyone that had a how-to video, Airbnb, Uber, what's the car app? Turo. All these creative ways to get in business. Everyone's selling books and ebooks and all this stuff. Potentially all selling the same things. Market saturation, some of you have seen the effects of that. Where there's a bunch of people in the same market. It doesn't even matter if they're good. It doesn't matter if they're better than you. It doesn't matter if you have better customer service. When there's so much of a surge of any particular market, but all markets see a surge, it's a scary place to be in. Because anytime you see market saturation, you can bet your bottom dollar it'll be harder to generate revenue and even more harder to generate profits. Number two, resource constraints. Because there was market saturation, guess what happened? It was harder to find raw materials, skilled labor, and even capital. I know everybody online was doing those bank plays. Here's the newest bank that's going to give us funding. Here's the newest bank that's going to give us what we need. And then you saw time and time again what happened to those banks. They got stung and stung and stung. But don't worry, there will be a new course teaching you bankruptcy and how you can negate actually paying any of that debt because of some law of your rightful laws that you have that can help you write off that debt and continue to do the same play again. The problem that most people do not see is the effects that actually has in the market. When you have a novice continuously making novice-like mistakes, keeping us from moving forward, keeping us from building on the past, because everybody seemed to be quick to wanting to make money, to change their financial circumstances. Only if you were to be honest, if you were to look at their real lifestyles, to be in the same situations that they were. They just got bigger cars, bigger houses, and bigger expenses. Number 3, the mistake of having a bunch of new people hit the market. Heightened competition in areas that never really had competition. That if somebody figured it out, you could make a fortune. Now you have a bunch of people in a specific area doing the same thing with the same skill set, with the same strategy, who read the same book, now competing with you. Now, what happens when there's a bunch of people who want the same products, offerings, land, or properties? Increased competition. Now, whether they are good or not, if there is an increase in competition in the same said market, can I tell you what happens? Price increase, inflation. So what was supposed to cost you one price ends up costing you another, because there's a bunch of people in the same thing. And guess who doesn't care? The person who is selling you the course on that new business model, that new quick flip. I think everyone should be doing this. And for some reason, we never ponder and think. If they had 10,000 people come through this program in the same regions, how much more difficult would it be for me to run my business in these said regions? And they use these ploys, bringing you up, talking about you, keeping you committed to it. And if you notice, anytime you had a specific niche that your mentor or your guru knew about, guess what happened? They wanted to tell the whole world about you, tell you exactly what you're doing, so they can bring more people into the program to learn exactly what makes you different, so they can make money on it, but it waters down your profits. There's a crucial significance about that. There's another issue that arises from a surge of business creation among startups and instability. The rapid increase in business activity followed by a rate of business failure. See, everybody tells you how much money they're making, but they never tell you how much money they lost. See, we've been extremely transparent. We made a lot of money, but we lost more than $4 million in a 45-day period because we were out of our league. We grew too fast. And there are so many of the people that's online who even had paid press releases, also paid podcast interviews that look like regular interviews, but they're paid for, that give you the impression that everything is up. But in truth, it's a silent desperation. They're in silent desperation for something to shake because everything is collapsing. They never tell you what happens when you take too much debt. They never tell you what happens when you leverage too much. Relationships, products, opportunities, and banks. They only tell you the good. But I haven't really heard a lot of people talk about the bad. They blame the market. They blame the people. They blame you not taking the courses. But they never actually even had a vetting process to even determine if you were even capable or able to facilitate the courses in the way that it should. Just disclaimers of, in 2 days or less, if you don't ask for your money back, there's no refund. Not giving you enough time to even see if it's a fit for you. Furthermore, when you talk about an increase or an influxion of a bunch of people in the market, A bunch of people were learning how to, but they never learned regulatory challenges. See, there's a lot of things that people fail to realize, and it's something that I had to learn real quick. That absence or misunderstanding of the law is not protection from it. That although you may not know the laws and regulations to do business in a specific industry, it does not take away from the fact that if you are seen criminally or civilly operating illegally, that causes for suits as well as jail time. These are things that we're not taught. Everyone talks about college. They talk about traditional or institutional education. But what happens when you get to the bag too fast, but you don't know regulatory laws that will protect you? See, these challenges, they underscore the importance of cultivating an ecosystem for businesses. Providing a place where people can actually trust the communities that they're in without feeling like they're predatory. See, when it came to any of our companies, any of our products, any of our services, we always talked about the importance of focusing on skill and not industry. Because I don't know, just like some of you don't even know, where God wants to put your gift and your abilities. But the truth is, when you're only looking for a quick flip, the quick flip always comes and bites you in the behind, doesn't it? But learning true skill sets that can have you maneuver through whatever profession, whatever industry, wherever job force is actually extremely important. What we saw enter the market within a 3-year period, more than 15 million businesses entered the market. We saw a limit in experience in preparation. Jake, what do you mean by limited in experience in preparation? People reading books and watching a YouTube video and all of a sudden figuring like it's cool for us to just go and start a business. Limited in experience in learning how to cultivate talent and invest in talent and make sure that everything is in line to make sure that your company doesn't falter. Guess what, y'all? I was a victim of limited experience too, of supernatural growth. Challenges in financial management. See, what I had to learn that there was a difference between personal financial management and corporation financial management. See, these are the things that people don't really talk about. Learning how to read profit and loss statements. Learning how to read financial projections correctly. These are the pieces of business that we don't really understand how it affects the business. How, yes, you traveled on vacation this month, but in 2 months, you had no understanding that in your industry, it is the winter period where it's hard to make money. So you hired a bunch of people in your summertime, but in your winter time, everyone was affected. Challenges in financial management. Operational inefficiencies. I can't tell you how many people talk about automation, but you cannot automate what you cannot duplicate, delegate, or regulate. See, automation is the icing on the cake. It's the cherry on top. See, regulation is the butter and the seasoning. It's the cake mix. Duplication is the oven. You bake it. Delegation is making sure you make sure everything's right. You cut it all nice to make sure everyone gets an equal piece. Automation is the process where it can run. So I see so many people online, specifically in small business America, taking the advice of automate, not even realizing that you don't even have everything regulated to automate. Do you know the effects of what happens when you put technology in place where humans haven't proven it yet? It's catastrophic. Market strategy is in effect, where you're just going on the latest YouTube video of what matters or what's working, and you alter your entire company based on the market strategy of some kid that's really low key in their parents' room that paid for a couple of reposts and retweets, that maxed out his credit card to make the world think that what he said was law, that backed nothing statistically. And it was proven by nothing written through the journals. So we change our entire marketing strategy without knowing even how to do market. Isn't it crazy how many people tell you to do your due diligence, but how many small business owners today never even learned how to do due diligence? Imagine someone telling you to do due diligence and you just figure it out or heard the word for the first time. See, market strategy is extremely important because if you don't understand the market and how people actually want to achieve, receive, and compensate you for the products and services you offer, you're literally shooting at the wind. I don't know how many people created social media courses of how to navigate social media that's actually free on the social media platforms. And the information that they're sharing with you is some rendition of someone else's course. That's a rendition of someone else's course. That's a rendition of someone else's course. Have you ever played the telephone game? How well does that work? The adaptability to changing market conditions. I've seen so many traditional business burn out, bankrupt because of COVID, the pandemic, and the new world of business. And I've also seen people that after you adapted to the new world of business, businesses exploded and you did not know how to retain it and it bankrupted you. Can I be honest? That was almost us. Growing too fast almost killed us. And if it were not for true training and certifications and stabilizing the company on traditional businesses, we'll be in a world of trouble. But because we had proper training, we really built businesses offline before getting online. We were able to navigate, sustain ourselves. But what it showed us was that if we could be affected, but we stabilized, how many small business owners had great popping businesses that couldn't stabilize because they were not prepared? We're going to talk about that a little bit later. Growing too fast, getting into the market, hearing all these people tell you that you should be a boss. And most of us fail to even realize what compliance and regulatory considerations are. This lack of knowledge could affect us when it comes to financial complications, legal matters. See, it costs to do business and be in business. It costs to operate at the highest level. It costs to put yourself in the right position to ensure that you're protected, your staff is protected, and your intellectual property. But if everyone tells you online, just give all your trade secrets, give it to the world. Take what makes you special and create a $2 course or program or ebook. And you'll get rich today, but you'll bankrupt yourself tomorrow. Not taking lawyers and consultants seriously. These things actually matter. The challenges faced by businesses, startups in 2023 provide evidence of some of the issues that arise when inexperienced businesses enter the market. These challenges encompasses aspects of business, operations, and management. Economic concerns and worries about the recession. Let me read this to you. The 2023 Small Business Owner Report published by Bank of America highlights that 72% of business owners expressed concerns regarding a potential recession. 79% of them talked about commodity price. 68% of them talked about political environment in the U.S. Another 68% talked about the fears of interest rates. Another 67% talked about disruptions within the supply chain. Another problem or cause of effect, employee attraction and retention. If everyone is talking about being a boss, who's going to help companies thrive? This is important. Can't keep teaching everyone how to be a boss. One, there's a timing and a place for everything. I don't believe that everyone is ready to be on their own yet. You may say it because it sells your courses, but I'm going to say it so that it can save the economy. There's a lot of people right now that left stable jobs to be unstable, knowing that you are not committed enough to not only build a company, but provide jobs and opportunities. Studies actually show through the census that the amount of money that small business owners make and take home, that a manager at a nice, profitable ran corporation will make the same amount of money. So yes, I know a lot of people are teaching you small business, run your own company. But running your own company at what cost? Most small businesses can't even afford health care. Most small businesses can't even afford to hit payroll on time. Most small businesses can't even keep clients regularly where the retention is high. And do you know what the effects of not having a stable small business is? More than 61% of the job force is created by small business owners. Jobs, opportunities, careers, progression, development of talent, small business owners. But what happens if we continue to allow a generation of people, my generation and below, to continue to make it seem as though everyone needs to be a boss or entrepreneur before their time? Parents that are watching this right now, that watch their children jump into entrepreneurship too soon, you know their struggle. And those of you that are watching this right now that know exactly what I'm talking about, you can look in your bank account right now and tell me if I'm telling the truth. But because you said that your God told you that you were supposed to walk away from your business, now you letting your ego stop you from going back into the job force. I'm going to talk about the reason that a lot of people are leaving the job force right now and what small business can do to make it better. But what I have to get you to understand is that 49% of business owners have reported that candidates showing no interest in working. Go figure. While 36% face issues with candidates not attending interviews. And 20% are struggling with compensation packages. When it comes to retaining employees, 61% of business owners state that their employees' desired salaries are unrealistic. 39% report a disconnect between job expectations and reality, while 35% find their staff to have wishful work hours that are unrealistic. What we are seeing entering the market are a bunch of people that don't have understanding of what it takes to build an economy. They have unrealistic expectations of the money that they think that they deserve versus the value that they actually bring. There are so many young folk, especially in my generation and below, that actually think that because you've been at a job a certain amount of time or you had these said skills. Do you know the problem about these said skills? Is that mastermind that you went to, that course that you went to, that conference that you went to, doesn't actually transfer or transition into a real job or equitable or credited time of real expertise. Jake, what do you mean? Well, I don't know if y'all know that there's There's a huge secret group of entrepreneurs that have a big following online that are secretly getting jobs, that are still teaching you entrepreneurship while they got a job to sustain their life. I don't know if you know that this has to change, because if it does not, our economy as you know it will not be the same. See, enterprises make a big focus on finding credentialed, educated professionals. Can I tell you why? Because when you have a publicly traded company, they are responsible for a higher level of regulation and accountability that private companies that are not publicly traded are protected from. But it's my opinion that regulation should be regulation. Because in my opinion, I'm going off the facts right now, but this is my opinion, that no industry impacts America in a larger way than small businesses in our economy. And when you talk about accreditation or accredited, did you know to even invest in certain investments, you have to be accredited? $1 million of net worth, more than $300,000 of earned income to be considered accredited. Now, I find it quite strange that if small business is the backbone of America, why there hasn't been a staple or a certification that was created to ensure that the people that provide jobs, opportunities, and careers, that set up shop in our communities, that provide grants and promotions and invest into the community, why is there not a staple set to ensure that we have the same regulatory basics of understanding of responsibility of what it means to be a small business professional? What I've noticed is that the people are actually willing to invest in training. We've seen hundreds and millions, billions of dollars that has been transacted in the self-education space. The issue is that the majority of these conferences and courses and masterminds are too focused on how-to concepts versus the full learning wheel that's required for full understanding and comprehension. In order to be successful, specifically in the small business market, you have to be fully adept to all functions of learning. It's the what, it's the why, it's the when, and it's the how. And based on our proprietary learning model, we built the comprehension quadrant. We came to the understanding that there are 4 components to learning, to the learning cycle. It's needed in order to increase your chances of success and mitigate your risks. Can I tell you something? The reason why so many of you like to run to YouTube and Instagram and these courses, because y'all are infatuated with the how-to. But can I tell you something that's important for you to understand? The how-to does not stabilize your company. The how-to doesn't provide jobs that people can depend on. Actually, the how-to information, how to be a billionaire, how to be a millionaire, how to buy real estate, how to do this, how to do that, that's actually the last piece of a 4-component learning module that we built. Some of you don't know I actually went to school for education. I was a certified and licensed teacher in the state of Texas. So when it comes to learning, I know a little bit about it. And with training over 50,000 business leaders in over 22 countries and over 2,000 active small business professionals that we have in the private small business society, I think I understand and I know the components of what it takes for someone to actually get the information that's needed and be able to retain it. And a lot of you are how-to hoarders. You go from course to course, video to video, trying to figure out all the how-tos that you can. But how-to is the last of our four components. The first thing you need to understand is the why. Now, I know people say, what is your why that make you cry? That's not the why I'm talking about. The why I'm talking about is understanding the purpose and motivation. See, why is the knowledge and skill that's important for the business and the role that you're in. The why is the strategy of the role of the product or industry that's important. So before I get into something, I want to know why. A lot of people ask me, why didn't I get into Airbnb? Because I knew that the why that people were making a lot of money was not something that could stabilize long term. But if you don't understand business economics, you don't understand business research and analysis, what you will not understand is that the reason why Airbnb blew up was only because the pandemic had everybody pinned up and the hotel market was shut down. So the Airbnb market had to thrive because it allowed for people to travel with the safety of protecting themselves from that disease that we shall remain nameless. So when everybody was building businesses and quitting jobs, thinking that Airbnb will be the same that it was during the pandemic, you're realizing that your commitment to that industry was novice-like. So when you understand the why, you also have to understand why does this industry or this role align with my personal business or career goals. I've seen so many people leave like truly stable careers to chase this idea that's actually against their integral code or their career or personal goals. Can I tell you the truth? I was one of them. I start buying cars and jewelry and all this stuff. I was not aligned in the way that I should have been. Because the internet can take you by force when you don't have anyone that's teaching you the real. But everyone's teaching you the how-to. After why, then you start to study the what. See, the what is building the knowledge base. Notice I'm not on how-to yet. See, the what is, what do I need to know about this subject or skill? It's the comprehensive knowledge of the industry or the role. But if I don't understand the what, the how, or even the when doesn't even matter. See, the what helps you understand the essential theories, the concepts, the informal, also the regulations and practices of that industry. See, we were never taught to actually go look at journals of people that came before us to ask ourselves if they've already done this and what is the repercussions of moving like this. See, that's what the what brings you. The why brings you the purpose and the motivation, but the what brings you the knowledge base. And I know that the what doesn't make you money today, but the what saves you from losing money when you're moving too fast. After the what turns into the when. Notice I haven't talked about the why, the how yet. The when is identifying the right timing. When is the appropriate or strategic time to apply this knowledge and skill? When should certain strategies be implemented for maximum effectiveness? How does timing affect the success of any decisions or actions? See, When does timing? So when you talk about the when, we're identifying the right timing. See, a lot of y'all were buying courses and going to conferences and going to mastermind when the person teaching the course, the mastermind, or holding the conference made their money in the beginning of the pandemic and was not making the same money by the time they taught you the course. But you're buying what they did versus what they're doing, and that's affecting where you are today. Identifying the right timing is important. So when I looked at Airbnb and Turo, I realized based on timing and based on the economic market, this was not the time to get in some trendy topic. So timing is important. Timing will let you know, is it the right time for me to leave my job? Or are these people telling me to leave my job so I can buy their high ticket program only for them to blame me for not executing what they promise I can deliver on? When is the right timing? When is the right timing to tell my friends and family that I'm going to be away? When is the right timing for me to put my entire life savings up? When is the right timing? It's important. Nobody cares about the when. When is the right timing that I'm supposed to get a trust, Iggy? When is the right timing that I'm supposed to get this portfolio businesses or buy a company or start this product? Is it the right timing? When is the right timing? See, when you go from the why, the purpose and motivation, to the what, the knowledge base of the industry, to the when do I apply it? When is it best to get in? The how is the last on the list, because the how is the easiest part. That's why so many people online are selling courses and books on the how. Because the how is the easiest to sell. Because the how is just you applying your knowledge practically. How do I effectively implement what I've learned? How do I understand the methods and tools and processes that I should use? How can I adopt and adapt these skills to my unique business proposition? And I want to tell you all the truth. The reason why so many of you are not achieving in the way that you wanted to is because how doesn't work when, why, and what are needed to exist. See, if you know the when, why, and what, you can even hire the how. But if you only have the how, that's where your shortcomings become. And so right now, I know you guys are probably thinking like, Jake, this is a lot going on, man. You talked about all of the worst things that happened. I thought you was going to talk about solutions. I promise you I will. But we also facilitated a 63-person executive summary. Now, don't forget, guys, that this report that is written, as you can see, is written. You're going to get access to this same report. Because I'm tired of us acting like amateurs in this business space. Let's stop listening to people that just made money a year ago, that doesn't have a history of winning and thriving and even coming back from difficult times. I like to figure out, what's your war stories? Where did you come back from? And that will let me know if we're willing to follow you. So we did a 63-person executive summary. We conducted a summary with 63 executives from companies that have an annual revenue ranging from $2 to $10 million. And you won't believe what we discovered, y'all. Can I tell you the truth that surprisingly only a small number of these companies created a budget? Even fewer actually utilized them to maintain control of their finances. This approach is beyond the result in chaos and financial difficulties down the road. I know online they tell you that the money that you make is yours, but when you're building a company, when you're within a company, that money ain't what you think it is. Here's something even more shocking. Did you know that most business owners don't even know how to comprehend a report? If you were to give them a data report, they wouldn't even know how to read the report. So if you don't know how to read the report, how can you forecast and hire someone within your company and tell them that the next 10 or 20 years, you can bank your bottom dollar that we will be here and you can buy a house on our salary. You can put your children in daycare on our salary. You can get medical on our salary. You can build a family on our salary. But the owners and the executive staff collectively don't even know how to read reports to even let you know where they are financially to date and where they will be tomorrow. This is where enterprises outproduce small businesses. Did you know that based on the report that we did, that most small business owners have no clue about the day-to-day activities of their employees? Job roles and expectations are unclear. You want to tell you why? Because there's a bunch of entrepreneurs today, small businesses that were traditional and that are active today, that hate corporate America so much that there is no discipline within their businesses, and without discipline, there's no structure. Now, I hate to bring God in this, but imagine a universe that had no laws and no rules. We wouldn't know what day we would have gravity and what day we wouldn't. A business or an opportunity without rules is not a family or a legacy that can be built on. When it comes to sales and marketing efforts for most businesses, did you know that most people take a shot in the dark? You look on social media and you say, they paid for this and they got that, so let me pay for that influencer. Oh, they paid for that Facebook, let me buy that ad. And before you know it, because you don't understand the market and how to analyze the market and how to manage your social media content on different platforms, despite what platform it is, I want to understand the platform. Can I tell y'all a secret? Moving forward, we have a rule within our company. We do not get on a new platform if we do not understand the rules of how to market on it. So many small business owners are wasting so much money off of somebody reaching out to you in your email, through your text messages, promising you the world, only for it to not happen. Because you don't want to do the work to actually learn your industry. You just want to run your business, make your money, and you think that that's how you win in life. Okay. How has that been working for us? Given haphazard practices, it's no surprise that many of these businesses face challenges when seeking loans from banks during times. Can I tell you something about the BIPOC community? Black, indigenous people of color. We like to play the color game when in truth, our businesses are out of whack. That's why we don't get funding. That's why we don't get investments. Your business plan is unrealistic. That's why you don't get funding. That's why we don't get investments. That's why we don't go public. Our systems are subpar, to say the least. That's why we don't get investments. That's why we don't get funding. Now, we do have redlining. We do have systemic things that keep us moving forward. But the majority of our mistakes are because we don't study business. We just want the result of it. Fancy cars, big house, nice private school. But nothing that's sustainable, which is why our children typically don't want the companies that we build. The emergence of new businesses is also because of traditional small businesses' mentality not to adapt to innovative efforts. They're depending on past success and they're comfortable, which is why so many of your employees are seeking flexible and autonomy, innovative methods and models. limited growth in traditional roles, desire for meaningful work, not embracing technology and digital platforms, not embracing economic change, cultural shifts. Small business owners that are traditional, you are the fault too. Thinking that the way that you've been doing business is the only way that you need to do business, which is why your staff wants to leave you. You have yet to invest into their education. You have yet to invest into their character or into their career. You have yet to invest into their credentials. You have yet to invest into their education. So they're having to go and seek and find information because you failed to do what's needed to be able to pour into your people. And that's why small businesses versus enterprise businesses, it's a big difference. Because enterprise businesses know, listen, I have a limited time with you, so let me get the best out of you. Let me invest into you. Let me create a history so I can get the next top talent. Small businesses, we want a penny pinch. And you have excuses and reasons why we can't keep top talent. So yes, I've talked about all of the things that small businesses have been doing wrong and the effects of why these things should happen. But now I want to talk about the solutions. The solution one is that we have to stop building our businesses alone. We need a regulatory body. We need a professional development community that actually cares about us moving forward in the industries that we're in. And that's why we create the Private Small Business Society. We have over 13 certifications that we've written in the last 2 years. From operations to executive trainer, research analyst, customer support, operations professional, HR, project management, sales professional, product developer. These are all our certifications. Marketing professional, small business professional, executive leader, senior executive leader. You got to start understanding and taking the positions, roles, or businesses that you're in seriously. After you get those certifications and you have that community that we built, it's time for us to get serious about strategic planning. This includes sales plans, marketing plans, HR plans, the package, outlining goals for 12, 24 months that you'll gain focus. Scripture says, without vision, the people shall perish. And there's too many small business owners risking their lives and taking people from stable careers on the whim of an idea, not a strategic plan. It's time for us to achieve financial fitness. I hear, you know how scary it is to hear entrepreneurs say that they're not really that good with money or that good with numbers? How are we hiring people and we're not that good at numbers? You know how many small business owners I know, I've met, that don't even know the numbers of their business, yet we're hiring every day and changing prices and giving discounts. So we don't know the effects that has on our company as well as the people that we employ. You know how many small business owners I know to date that don't even know their profit and loss statement? We got to start investing and developing in our employees. Companies that actually invest into certifications and continued education in the career of their employees see a 25 to 40% increase in the longevity or the staying of the retention of their employees and staff. Do you know that most employees leave because they feel like they've reached their limit in growth? Why you as a small business owner, you're comfortable with where you are, but the reason why you can't keep talent is because you fail to continue to grow. Small businesses fail to embrace technological advancements. They fail to resolve customer experience issues. My goodness, this is probably number one. Gang of small business entrepreneurs whose businesses fail because they've never had training in customer support. Did you know that your business could not and would not survive without true customer support? Do you remember me? BIPOC, Black, Indigenous, people of color. Businesses don't thrive because of lack of customer experience and support. Here's the scariest thing. According to the data of Census Bureau, there are now over 30 million businesses operating in America as of 2023. This represents a 5% increase from 2020. So as you can see, a large majority of new entrepreneurs came in from 2019 to 2020. Taking a look, there was a 7% increase in revenue. See, a lot of y'all get caught up in the revenue game. But what you have to understand is that when it comes to revenue, we'll talk about it later, but most reports are based on real growth rates, meaning the only thing they're looking at is the increase of revenue. So you're leaving your job or your careers, you're risking your entire business off of jumping into another industry because there's an increase in revenue and output. But the increase of revenue and output is because of the cost of living going up and interest rates going up. So the prices go up, therefore meaning that the revenue increases, but the profits are diminishing. See, if you don't understand economics, you wouldn't understand that. We did another survey of over 5,000 business leaders. The cost of acquiring customers have increased. Retail, it costs $300 to acquire one customer. Healthcare, $750 to acquire one customer. Professional services like consulting or finances or advising, $2,100 to acquire a customer. Manufacturing, $1,800 to acquire a customer. Hospitality, $450 to acquire a customer. These figures are in line with Lead Genius benchmarks of approximately $350 for retail, $700 for healthcare, roughly $1,900 for professional services, and $1,500 for manufacturing. Such discrepancies highlight the importance of establishing customer acquisition goals tailored to your industry. Y'all are running businesses on how-tos and not even understanding the cost of acquiring businesses and clients in your market. We also discovered customer retention rates. Manufacturing had a 35% churn. What churn means is they're leaving. Hospitality, more than 30% of businesses' customers churn annually. Retail, 25%. Professional services, 22%. Healthcare, 20%. And manufacturing at the highest at 35%. That was based on J.D. Power. This indicates the pressing need to prioritize customer experience. It is crucial to identify pain points and address them through enhanced service. But do you know what happens when people get social media famous? They don't care about their original customers, which is why the churn is so high. And when the churn is so high, the stability of the company is altered because you will always have to get new customers to sustain the old business that you already had. And it's so much easier to keep old customers than it is to find new ones. This is the lack of business development. Organic search traffic has increased. It's not a surprise that retail leads in terms of SEO because people are starting to search. But search traffic has increased because paid search spends have also increased. Cost per click, that means someone clicking on an ad on a website, it's up 25%. The high costs across all categories reflect the competitiveness within the paid search market. This is the effect of everyone teaching everybody entrepreneurship. Now, because you got so many novices in the market not knowing what they do, it rises the cost of everything up. which makes it harder for people that really know how to do business to thrive and succeed, which is why a lot of you have seen such a shortfalling in revenue moving forward. Social media usage is on an all-time high, but it's not surprising considering the billions of users on platforms today. When asked about revenue growth in 2021 compared to 2020, we saw healthcare grow 7%, professional services grow 7%, manufacturing grow 5%, hospitality grow 4%, and retail grow 3%. But you have to remember that all of these reports are due to real growth rates. They do not include inflation and cost of living. What does that mean? That if inflation increased 30%, that means that all prices have to increase in order to keep the market and be able to sustain lifetime or living or cost of living, which means that the revenue shows that there's an increase in the market, but the profitability does not show that it has changed. So when you decide to quit your life to go into entrepreneurship or transition your entire business without truly even understanding the industry you're already in, these are the effects that can happen into your business. And I'll let you look at the report of the strategies that people should be using in each of the industries. But the biggest thing I want you to understand is this. Times have changed. And what we've had to realize as a company ourselves is that what worked in the old way of doing business doesn't work today. And the scariest thing about today's way of doing business is that it's ever changing every day. So to not have your team on certifications, to not invest into your real life education is crazy. And when we talk about our process, remember we talked about our component of learning. It was the why, it was the what, it was the when, and it was the how. And the reason that the private small business society is important and the state of small business is important is because, one, we will always bring you the reports to let you know what's really going on in the market. But number two, we have the solution. In the private small business society, we have over 500 professional development how-to lessons. Teach you how to grow on social media, how to grow on your marketing, how to build a product, how to launch it. These are all the how-tos with over 8 books written to support you in the private small business society. Not only that, we have another side. We've now become the only organization in American history to solely focus on small business with professional development and also certifications. Do you know how many entrepreneurs that become entrepreneurs that go into the entrepreneur force and then try to go matriculate back into the job force? That time away doesn't translate because you can't give credit to the conference you gave or the mastermind you went to. And the money that you show that you made, it only shows that you're great at sales and not any other aspect. Well, we created certifications. We want to set the standard of what it means to build in a small business world. From basic certifications to specialty certifications, we have the small business professional certification all the way up to the CCE, the Certified Chief Executive Leadership Certification, teaching you everything that you need to grow, everything that you need to expand. But the most important thing is that we're the first organization in history to create true certifications that are going to help regulate the small business economy. Now, I've done a lot of things wrong in my small business journey, but I've also done a lot of things right. And what I refuse to happen is that there is no one that steps up and everyone complains about what's wrong, but nobody's providing the solution. So for those of you that have interest, make sure that you download the report. When you download this report that's getting put into the comments right now and getting put on the screen, when you download the report, you're going to get a link and information about Saturday's Private Small Business Society overview. We're going to be breaking down all of our certifications, what it means for you to be a certified business professional, what it means for you to be a certified small business employee and a professional, and what we're doing to bring quality education, true certification, and what we're doing to build a vocational business school to bring all this information to you at a faster, more affordable rate. But what you have to understand is that if we do not get better as small business professionals, what is going to happen is that the government is going to create even steeper regulations, and bigger enterprises are going to be able to continue to eat up our markets. And before you know it, we all are going to be working for small business enterprises. It's going to be harder and harder to build our own businesses. It's going to be harder and harder for small businesses to be able to provide the value that we do in our communities. So the private small business society is important. Yuri Treisman with UC Berkeley showed that the community is important. But the question is, are you willing to take the next step to put your life in a better situation? To stop playing amateur ball in the small business world. Whether you're working a job or you're running the business itself, you got to understand that in order for us to move forward and stick together and continue to allow for us to grow and expand, we got to get serious about this industry. And we got to start calling out those that really aren't about change and really don't want to build real credentialing certifications and bring about professionalism in the way that it should. There's no reason we should keep talking about, I just got started in the industry. There's no reason we should just keep talking about that we have to keep supporting each other until we figure it out. If there is no standard that is set that we all abide by, it's going to continue to be the wild, wild west. And if you continue to allow the wild, wild west until we all collectively decide to regulate ourselves, you know what happens when the government steps in? It changes the whole game. And with so many people entering into the entrepreneur market, with all these scams and get rich quick plays and trust and leaving jobs and cutting people off and not doing all of that, I can tell you one thing, that the economy we know today is going to be different. And I don't want to destroy what all our forefathers built for us, a place where we have true free enterprise. But it's time that we get true stability. If you want to know more about the private small business society and what we're doing to change that narrative, I want you to register. It's free. To our overview we're having on Saturday. We're going to break down the accomplishments that people have been having within a private small business society. Some have been selling companies. Some have even bought companies. Some have gotten promotions within their jobs. Others have increased their negotiation skill to get higher contracts for their business. Some have even employed more people. See, what we need more is the what, the when, and the why. Because your YouTube, these courses online, they can teach you the how. But I want you to ask yourself a question. Where has that gotten you? And where is the stability within your business to make your children and people even come work for you and stay with you? And if you're watching this right now, you're working a current job and you're working for a small business owner with less than 500 employees and make less than, depending on the industry, $38 million a year, you are a part of the small business ecosystem. And you need to get your owner, your manager, or your supervisor to watch this video, because it's time for us to make a call to action that we need professionalism and accountability and regulation at the highest level in small business America. Because if we don't, it will be changed forever. I hope that this first annual report showed you that there are people out here that care about what we're doing. Because we care. And it's not about the money that you make. It's what you earn and what you can keep. And it's not about getting over on people. It's about stabilizing our economy. And if there's no small businesses, what are the taxes that are being paid to the cities that you live in? What are the jobs that are being offered? What are the career training that people can get starting from scratch? And what is the legacy going to look like if we can't pass it forward? My name is Dr. Jake Taylor Jacobs, founder and CEO of the Private Small Business Society, a BizCo Capital organization with over 2,000 plus small business professional leaders people that went to Wharton Business School and Ivy League, got doctorate level earned degrees, masters, own businesses, run 7 and 8 figure companies that are within our society. Real practitioners that actually care about moving our economy forward. Because there is no America without Small Business America. Thank you for watching, and I cannot wait to see you Saturday.